Hello, everyone. It is Ramonica. Thanks for tuning in for day number 23. And for today, our topic is going to be pre qualification and the basic criteria of getting qualified for a home. And we have Cliff again from AMCAP Mortgage to talk to us about that. Cliff, can you walk us through the pre qualification process, what it takes to get pre qualified, and also what are some of the basic criteria that a lender is looking for?
Awesome, not a problem. Well, the first thing we're going to say is banks, you know how they go super investigator on you. So we always like to say, remember this acronym, CIA, credit, income, and assets.
Okay.
Those are the only three things that really are going to determine if you're capable of buying a house.
Okay.
First off is credit. That's the first barrier of entry. You got to have a good enough credit score to buy. It's not all about just making enough money or having the down payment.
Right.
You have to have credit good enough. But don't worry, if there are credit issues, a great lender is going to be able to tell you what you need to do to get it to where it needs to be in order to get qualified. So, of course, once we get credit where it needs to be, the next step is, how much house do I qualify for? Well, that's going to come down to your income. That's what we say income is very important, because your income is going to help us calculate your debt to income ratio. So based on the amount of debt you have and how much money you make, we'll be able to accurately tell you how much house you can qualify for.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, once we now have your credit approved, we have your income verified, we know how much you're buying, we know how much you'll need for down payment and closing costs. And that's where the assets comes in, because we need to know that you have enough money to cover all the incidentals when it comes to buying a house. Appraisals, inspections, down payment, closing costs, things like that.
Okay, so once I have my credit, my income, and my assets together, what do I do? How do I get pre-qualified or pre-approved?
Well, first thing is, like I said, you call the lender. They're going to review all those things for you. Then they're going to get you either pre-qualified verbally, written, and there's also a pre-approval process.
Okay.
Now, sometimes there's a big myth in the market on how it is. A good, solid approval is going to be a full approval, which means a lender actually did look at your credit, your income, and your assets. What we've seen in the marketplace a lot is sometimes people will go online and apply for a mortgage, and they'll get their credit pulled. And the lender says, oh, great, you got an 800 credit score, you qualify.
Right.
And then they go out and they find the perfect house, they get it under contract, and it falls through. The reason is because the lender never looked at your income or your assets.
Okay.
They didn't talk budget with you. So you went out and found this big, beautiful house, you loved it, but when you found out what the payment was and how much money you needed for it, you realized you couldn't qualify for it any longer.
Gotcha.
And then you're out money. So it's very important that you get a full pre-qualified. What that means is a written verification means the lender actually looked at tax returns, check stubs, bank statements, and reviewed your credit thoroughly and issued a solid approval. Because there's a lot of lenders out there who'll just pull credit and say you're good to go and go find a house.
Right.
And that can end badly in most cases.
Right.
And the last part is a pre-approval. Now, sometimes people say, well, I've got to have a pre-approval before I can get approved. Approval only comes from an underwriter, not from a loan officer. Now, an experienced loan officer knows how to underwrite a loan, but of course, they're just going to guide you through. And most of the time, 99 times out of 100, if a lender tells you or a loan officer tells you they're approved, you're good to go. But a final approval comes from that underwriter whose job is to be impartial. Not part of the transaction like a realtor or the lender or anything like that. They're going to actually look at all your verified documents, like tax returns, check stubs, bank statements. This is when they go CIA on you, but in a different way. They're going to make sure that everything you gave them is true and correct and not fake or phony. Because I've had it before. People give me fake bank statements and tax returns, and we say, hey, you don't want that. So definitely a final approval does come from an underwriter, but typically you don't need to go that far into it. With a solid pre-approval from your loan officer, you should be able to find a house and get into contract without any issues.
Okay, great. So if we have a solid pre-approval from the lender, we can pretty much feel confident that that's going to suffice, and we can go out and start shopping.
That's right. I tell you that, hey, if a good lender like myself going to give you a pre-approval, it's guaranteed to close so long as you don't lie to us or do something stupid, and you're going to be just fine.
All right. Good feedback, Cliff. So I just wanted to walk you guys through the process of getting pre-qualified, what it looks like, what to expect, and so that you can get ready to purchase a home. If you have any other questions, definitely feel free to contact us. Thanks. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow with another great topic.
Bye-bye, guys.